Good morning, everybody. Good morning to the public. My name is Councilmember Isaiah Thomas. I'm a council member at large in the city of Philadelphia. Today is Monday, November 30th, and we are now prepared to start our streets and services hearing. I understand that the state law currently requires that the following announcement be made at the beginning of every remote public hearing as follows. Due to the current public health emergency, city council committees are currently meeting remotely. We are using Microsoft Teams to make these remote hearings possible. Instructions for how the public may view and offer public testimony at the public hearings of city council committees are included in the public hearing notices that are published in the Daily News, Enquirer, Legal Intelligencer prior to the hearings, and can also be found on phlcouncil.com. I now note that the hour has come. Mr. Maynard, will you please call the roll to take attendance? Members that are in attendance will please indicate that you are present when your name is called. Also, please feel free to say a few brief words so that your image will be displayed on the screen. Mr. Clerk. Mr. Clerk, you're on mute.
Chairman Thomas.
Present.
Vice Chair Squilla. Vice Chair Squilla. Councilmember Bass.
Good morning, I am present.
Thank you, Councilmember Bass. Councilmember O. Councilmember O. Councilmember Brooks.
Good morning, I am present.
Thank you, Councilmember Brooks. Councilmember Johnson.
Good morning, President. Good morning, everyone.
Thank you, Councilmember Johnson. Councilmember Gilmore Richardson.
Good morning, I'm present.
Thank you, Councilmember Gilmore Richardson. A quorum of the members are present, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. A quorum of the committee is present, and the hearing is now called to order. This public hearing of the Committee of Streets and Services regarding bills number 200085, 200086, 200252, 200542, 200543, 200575, 200578, 200595, 200596, 200597, 200598, 200626, 200627, 200657, 200658, 200659, 200660, 200661, and 200633. We have a lot of bills on the Decker this morning, and we're going to ask everybody for their patience in watching your government in action. Mr. Maynard, will you please read the titles of these bills?
Of course, Mr. Chairman. Just a minor point. The final bill is 200663, and the third bill in that list was 200257, not 252.
Thank you, Mr. Maynard. So that's the third bill was 200257, just to read into the record, and the final bill was 200663.
That's correct.
Thank you, Mr. Maynard.
Of course. $200,085, an ordinance establishing a no parking regulation on Kingsessing Avenue from Cemetery Avenue to South 62nd Street. Ordinance 200,086, an ordinance establishing a no parking regulation in the vicinity of Cemetery and Kingsessing Avenue. Bill 200257, an ordinance regulating the direction of movement of traffic on certain portions of Manton Street, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill 200542, an ordinance authorizing DSW1, doing business as Nifty Fifty's owner, to install, own, and maintain a proposed sidewalk café at 2700 South 10th Street, Philadelphia, PA 19148, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill 200543, an ordinance authorizing Stephen Garofalo, owner, to construct, own, and maintain a proposed exterior stairway at 3000 South 15th Street, Philadelphia, PA 19145 property, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill 200575, an ordinance authorizing an encroachment in the nature of a pedestrian staircase to directly access Green Lane Bridge in the vicinity of 1 Leverington Avenue under certain terms and conditions. The clerk notes that Councilmember O is present.
Thank you very much.
Bill 200578, an ordinance authorizing the revision of lines and grades on a portion of City Plan number 46-S by striking from the city plan and vacating Penrose Ferry Road from Penrose Avenue to its terminus northwesterly therefrom, and reserving the placing on the city plan a right-of-way for various public utility purposes within the lines of Penrose Ferry Road, being stricken, and authorizing acceptance of the grant to the city of the said right-of-way, being reserved under certain terms and conditions. Bill 200595, an ordinance authorizing the revision of lines and grades on portions of City Plan number 32-S, 33-S, 40-S, 47-S, 48-S, and 53-S by placing on the city plan Francis Harper Drive from Passyunk Avenue to Penrose Avenue, Pollock Street from South 26th Street to Francis Harper Drive, Schuylkill Avenue from Passyunk Avenue, extending northwesterly and northeasterly to a cul-de-sac, and Fortin Way from Vere Avenue extending southwesterly to a cul-de-sac, including the dedication to the city of the said beds of Francis Harper Drive, Pollock Street, Schuylkill Avenue, and Fortin Way. Bill 200596, an ordinance authorizing the revision of lines and grades on a portion of City Plan numbers 32-S, 33-S, 40-S, 46-S, 47-S, and 53-S by relocating the curb lines and house lines along the southern side of West Passyunk Avenue at its intersection with the South 28th Street and Passyunk Avenue Service Road, aka Frontage Road, along both sides of Passyunk Avenue Service Road, aka Frontage Road, at its intersection with Francis Harper Drive, along the western side of 26th Street and center median of South 26th Street, at its intersection with Pollock Street and Penrose Avenue, along both sides of the northwesterly service road of Penrose Avenue, aka Lanier Avenue, along the northern side of Penrose Avenue and center median of Penrose Avenue at its intersection with the northwesterly service road of Penrose Avenue, aka Lanier Avenue, and 26th Street to accommodate various intersection improvements, and placing on the city plan an extension of Passyunk Avenue Service Road, aka Frontage Road, from a point approximately 530 feet east of the pierhead and bulkhead line to Schuylkill Avenue, all under certain terms and conditions, including the dedication to the city of the beds of all widened portions of the aforementioned streets. Bill 200597, an ordinance authorizing the paving of Francis Harper Drive from Passyunk Avenue to Penrose Avenue, Pollock Street from South 26th Street to Francis Harper Drive, Schuylkill Avenue from Passyunk Avenue extending northwesterly and northeasterly to a cul-de-sac, and Fortin Way from Vere Avenue extending southwesterly to a cul-de-sac under certain terms and conditions. Bill 200598, an ordinance authorizing the striking from City Plan numbers 40-S, 47-S, and 48-S, and abandonment of a certain right-of-way reserved for drainage purposes located along the former Hartranft Street, west of 26th Street, and extending westwardly therefrom to the Schuylkill River under certain terms and conditions. Bill 200626, an ordinance authorizing the revision of lines and grades on a portion of City Plan number 238 by relocating the southeasterly house line and curb line of Christopher Columbus Boulevard from Washington Avenue to Christian Street, thereby creating a more uniform right-of-way, width, and continuous footway area for said Christopher Columbus Boulevard from Washington Avenue to Christian Street, placing on the city plan an irregularly shaped area at the terminus of said Washington Avenue east of Christopher Columbus Boulevard, reserving and placing on the city plan a right-of-way for various utility purposes within the portion of Christopher Columbus Boulevard being stricken, and plotting upon the city plan a right-of-way for drainage purposes extending from the said terminus of Washington Avenue to the Delaware River, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill 200657, an ordinance amending Bill number 01 0267 entitled Establishing a No Truck Parking Regulation on Lancaster Avenue from 52nd Street to 63rd Street, both sides, to include and establish tow-away regulations for trucks on Lancaster Avenue from 52nd Street to 63rd Street, both sides, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill 200658, an ordinance authorizing the installation of a traffic signal at the intersection of Upland Way and Burke Street. Bill 200659, an ordinance establishing a no truck parking regulation on Parkside Avenue, both sides, from 50th Street to Belmont Avenue, 50th Street, both sides from Parkside Avenue to Jefferson Street, Jefferson Street, both sides from 50th Street to its terminus, and 49th Street, both sides from Parkside Avenue to Jefferson Street. Bill 200660, an ordinance establishing a no truck parking regulation on Henry Avenue, both sides from Allegheny Avenue to Abbotsford Avenue. Bill 200661, an ordinance authorizing encroachments in the nature of structural artwork consisting of metal manhole covers and traffic signs located in the vicinity of the 6200 block of Osage Avenue, Philadelphia, PA 19143, and authorizing the City of Philadelphia to accept ownership of such encroachments, all under certain terms and conditions. And Bill 200663, an ordinance amending Section 12-701 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled Bicycle Lanes, by authorizing the Department of Streets to designate a bicycle lane in the southbound direction on North 8th Street from Vine Street to Ray Street, and to remove a travel lane in the southbound direction on North 8th Street from Vine Street to Ray Street, all under certain terms and conditions. Those are the bills before the committee. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. I would like to take a moment to recognize that Councilmember David O is present, as well as Councilmember Mark Squilla. Councilmember Squilla, would you like to be recognized?
No, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember. Before we begin to hear testimony from the witnesses we have for today, everyone who has been invited to the meeting to testify should be aware that this public hearing is being recorded. Because the hearing is public, participants and viewers have no reasonable expectation of privacy. By continuing to be in the meeting, you are consenting to being recorded. Additionally, prior to recognizing members for questions or comments they have for witnesses, I will note for the record at this time that we will use the chat feature available in Microsoft Teams to allow members to signify they wish to be recognized. In order to comply with the Sunshine Act, the chat feature must only be used for this purpose. I apologize. Mr. Maynard, will you please call the first panel of witnesses we have to testify this morning?
The first bill that we're going to hear on is Bill 200663, and the witness for that bill is Jeanette Bruger from Otis.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record, and you may begin with your testimony.
My name is Jeanette Bruger. Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today. Again, my name is Jeanette Bruger, and I'm the Bicycle and Pedestrian Coordinator in the Office of Complete Streets in the Office of Transportation, Infrastructure, and Sustainability. I'm here today to offer testimony on Bill number 200663, sponsored by Councilmember Squilla. This bill will authorize the removal of a vehicle travel lane on North 8th Street between Vine Street and Ray Street for a protected bicycle lane. Constructing this one-block bikeway link is consistent with the Philadelphia 2035 Comprehensive Plan, Connect, Philadelphia's Strategic Transportation Plan, and the city's pedestrian and bicycle plan. This bikeway provides a safe, sustainable, healthy transportation option for people of all ages and abilities. The new bikeway reorganizes the roadway in a way that will calm vehicle traffic along this part of 8th Street just south of the Vine Street Expressway, which was previously 4 vehicle lanes wide. This provides a connection between planned projects on the local portion of Vine Street and Ray Street east of 8th Street on each end of the block. There's a demonstrated support for this project from the Philadelphia Chinatown Development Corporation. The project was actually completed with repaving this fall. The Office of Transportation, Infrastructure, and Sustainability coordinated on this bill with the Department of Streets and the Office of Councilmember Squilla. Thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have at this time.
Thank you for your testimony. Are there any questions from members of this committee for this particular witness? Hearing none, I want to say thank you for your testimony. We appreciate you being here with us this morning.
Absolutely.
Mr. Maynard, can you please call the next panel?
Of course. The next bills to be heard are bills 200575, 200542, 200543, 200578. The witnesses for all four of those bills are Noah Omarconi from Streets and Sarah Chu from Planning.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record, and you may begin with your consecutive testimony.
Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noelle Marconi, and I'm the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on 200575, introduced by Councilmember Jones. This bill authorizes the owner to construct, own, and maintain an encroachment in the form of a staircase adjacent to the existing Green Lane Bridge structure in the vicinity of 1 Leverington Avenue, all under certain terms and conditions. The Department of Streets has no objections to this proposed encroachment. This concludes my testimony. I'm pleased to answer any questions you may have. Thank you. Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noelle Marconi, and I am the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 200542, introduced by Councilmember Johnson. This bill authorizes the owner to install, own, and maintain an open-air sidewalk cafe located along the south right-of-way line of Oregon Avenue and the west right-of-way line of South 10th Street. The Department of Streets is not opposed to this proposed sidewalk cafe encroachment, as the 9 feet on Oregon Avenue and 8 feet 6 inches on South 10th Street of clear passable sidewalk space is to remain after its installation, which meets the required complete streets walking zone minimum width, plus the applicant followed the established process. And I also understand there is an amendment which will be offered, and the department supports that amendment. This concludes my testimony. I'm pleased to answer any questions you may have. Thank you. Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noelle Marconi, and I'm the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 200543, introduced by Councilmember Johnson. This bill authorizes the owner to construct, own, and maintain a proposed exterior stairwell at 3000 South 15th Street, all under certain terms and conditions. The Department of Streets is not opposed to this proposed exterior stairway encroachment. It was adequately demonstrated to us by the owner that the exterior installation of the building ramp was the only feasible method to meet all code requirements for the building use, and that the exterior building ramp and steps would not be constructed interior to the building. A minimum 8 feet 6 inches of clear passable sidewalk spaces to remain on Pollock Street after the installation, which we believe is an adequate case in this scenario. This concludes my testimony. I'm pleased to answer any questions you may have. Thank you. Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noelle Marconi. I'm the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 200578, introduced by Councilmember Johnson. This is not an administrative ordinance, but an ordinance requested by Mr. Owen M. Hine, P.E. of Remington and Vernick Engineers, 992 Fayette Street, Conshohocken, PA 19428, on behalf of 1715 Properties Incorporated. The purpose of this proposed ordinance is to authorize striking from the city plan and the vacating of Penrose Ferry Road from Penrose Avenue to its terminus approximately 222 feet northwestwardly therefrom, and the reserving and placing on the city plan of a right-of-way for various public utility purposes within the lines of Penrose Ferry Road being stricken. The purpose of this action is to facilitate the operation and maintenance of an existing underground stormwater infiltration system which serves the adjacent property at 2401 Penrose Avenue, but encourages into the public right-of-way of Penrose Ferry Road. This ordinance is supported by the Department of Streets, and it is recommended for a committee for approval. This concludes my testimony. I'm pleased to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Before we move to questions, we'll go to the next witness. If you could please state your name for the record and then begin with your testimony.
Good morning, Chair Member Thomas and members of Committee on Streets and Services. I'm Sarah Chu, City Planner with the Philadelphia City Planning Commission. I'm here to testify on Bill number 200575, which was introduced by Councilmember Jones on October 22nd, 2020. Bill number 200575 authorizes an encroachment in the nature of a pedestrian staircase to directly access Green Lane Bridge in the vicinity of 1 Levington Avenue under certain terms and conditions. This bill permits the lots homeowner associations to install, own, and maintain the portion of a staircase that will encroach into the public right-of-way of Green Lane Bridge. The encroachment will measure approximately 5 feet wide, centered between the 2 bridge pilasters, and encroach from the north of the Green Lane Bridge right-of-way approximately 8 feet 10 inches towards the south, but no further than the inside face of a North Green Lane Bridge parapet. This staircase will provide a pedestrian access to a newly constructed townhouse development at 1 Levington Avenue on Venice Island up to the Green Lane Bridge. The primary purpose of the staircase is for evacuation purposes in the event of a flood on the island. At its meeting on November 17, 2020, the City Planning Commission recommended Bill number 200575 for approval. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have at this time. Good morning, Chair Member Thomas and members of Committee on Streets and Services. I'm Sarah Chu, City Planner with the Philadelphia City Planning Commission. I'm here to testify on Bill number 200542, which was introduced by Councilmember Johnson on October 8, 2020. Bill number 200542 authorizes an encroachment of a sidewalk cafe located at 2700 South 10th Street. The seatings will encroach on the south footway of Oregon Avenue approximately 4 feet, and to encroach on the west footway of South 10th Street approximately 4 feet. A clear passable sidewalk space with a minimum width of 9 feet on Oregon Avenue and 8 feet 6 inches on South 10th Street will remain for pedestrians. Therefore, at this meeting on October 20th, 2020, the City Planning Commission recommended Bill number 200542 for approval as an item in accord with the previous policy. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have at this time. Good morning, Chair Member Thomas and members of the Committee on Streets and Services. I'm Sarah Chu, City Planner with the Philadelphia City Planning Commission. I'm here to testify on Bill number 200543, which was sponsored by Councilmember Johnson on October 8, 2020. Bill number 200543 allows the owner to construct a proposed exterior staircase on the property at 3000 South 15th Street. The stairway will encroach on the south footway of Pollock Street, approximately 3 feet 6 inches in width and 17 feet 4 inches in length. A minimum of 8 feet 6 inches of a clear passable space is to remain for pedestrians. This encroachment proposal will meet the complete street policy. Therefore, at its meeting on October 20th, 2020, the City Planning Commission recommended Bill number 200543 for approval as an item in accord with previous policies. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have at this time. Good morning, Chair Member Thomas and members of Committee on the Streets and Services. I'm Sarah Chu, City Planner with the Philadelphia City Planning Commission. I'm here to testify on Bill number 200578, which was sponsored by Councilmember Johnson on October 22nd, 2020. Bill number 200578 will authorize the revisions of lines and grades by striking and vacating Penrose Ferry Road from Penrose Avenue to its terminus, and by reserving a public utility right-of-way. The purpose of this action is to facilitate the operation and maintenance of the existing underground stormwater infiltration system, which serves the adjacent property at 2401 Penrose Avenue, but encroaches into the public right-of-way of Penrose Ferry Road. At its meeting on October 17, 2020, the City Planning Commission recommended approval for Bill number 200578. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have at this time. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Are there any questions from the members of this committee for this particular panel? Hearing no questions and seeing no requests for questions in the chat, I want to thank this panel for your testimony today. It's definitely appreciated. And I would ask that the clerk to please call the next panel of witnesses.
Sure. The next group of bills to be heard are bills 200595, 200596, 200597, and 200598. Noel Marconi and Sarah Chu are testifying on the first two of those, and Noel Marconi is the only one testifying on 597 and 598. Jasmine Sessoms and Jeremy Gray from Hillco are both available, as well as a range of other experts should we have need of them.
Thank you, Mr. Maynard. Please, the next panel, please feel free to begin with your testimony.
Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noel Marconi, and I am the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 200595, introduced by Councilmember Johnson. This is not an administration ordinance, but an ordinance requested by Mr. Matthew N. McClure of Ballard Spar, LLP, representing Philadelphia Energy Solutions Refining and Marketing, LLC. The purpose of this proposed ordinance is to authorize the placing on the city plan of new streets within the former Philadelphia Energy Solutions Refinery complex in the area bounded roughly by 26th Street, Penrose Avenue, the Schuylkill River, Moore Street, and Bear Avenue. The former refinery property, which comprises approximately 1,300 acres, is proposed to be redeveloped as a multimodal logistics center. Approximately 15,000 linear feet of new public roadway is proposed to be established within the site. The Department of Streets has no objections to this proposed ordinance. The department will require that the new streets be designated and constructed to the Streets Department standards and specifications and be the subject to the normal review process. The department will further require that the dedication to the city of the new streets will be informed that ensures the city is not acquiring a fee interest in the land and is not responsible or liable for any issues arising from the level of contamination of the ground on which the new streets will be constructed. I also understand that an amendment will be offered, which the department supports. This concludes my testimony. I'm pleased to answer any questions you may have. Thank you. Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the committee. My name is Noel Marconi, and I'm the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 200596, introduced by Councilmember Johnson. This is not an administration ordinance, but an ordinance requested by Matthew N. McClure of Ballard Spar, LLP, representing Philadelphia Energy Solutions Refining and Marketing, LLC. The purpose of this proposed ordinance is to authorize various revisions to the house lines and curb lines of existing streets within the vicinity of the former Philadelphia Energy Solutions Refinery complex in the area bounded by roughly 26th Street, Penrose Avenue, the Schuylkill River, Moore Street, and Bear Avenue. The streets affected by this proposed ordinance include Passyunk Avenue and its adjacent service road, Penrose Avenue, and its adjacent service road, and 26th Street. The former refinery property, which comprises approximately 1,300 acres, is proposed to be redeveloped as a multimodal logistics center. These proposed actions will enhance access to the site by facilitating traffic movement and improving traffic safety. The Department of Streets has no objections to this proposed ordinance. The department will require that all of the proposed roadway improvements be designed and constructed to the Streets Department standards and specifications and be subject to the normal review process. The department will further require that the dedication to the city of additional rights-of-way areas be in a form that ensures the city is not acquiring a fee interest in the land and is not responsible or liable for any issues arising from the level of contamination of the ground on which the proposed roadway improvements will be constructed. I also understand there's an amendment for this bill which will be offered, which the department supports. This concludes my testimony. Please answer any questions you may have. Thank you. Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noel Marconi, and I'm the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 200597, introduced by Councilmember Johnson. This is not an administration ordinance, but an ordinance requested by Matthew N. McClure of Ballard Spar, LLP, representing Philadelphia Energy Solutions Refining and Marketing, LLC. The purpose of this proposed ordinance is to authorize the paving of Francis Harper Drive, Pollock Street, Schuylkill Avenue, and Fortin Way, all within the former Philadelphia Energy Solutions Refinery complex, in the area bounded roughly by 26th Street, Penrose Avenue, the Schuylkill River, Moore Street, and Bear Avenue. The former refinery property, which comprises approximately 1,300 acres, is proposed to be redeveloped as a multimodal logistics center. Approximately 15,000 linear feet of new public roadways proposed to be constructed within the site. The Department of Streets has no objections to this proposed ordinance. The department will require that all the proposed paving work be designed and constructed to the Streets Department standards and specifications, be subject to the normal review process. This concludes my testimony, and please answer any questions you may have. I also understand there's an amendment to this bill, which we also are in favor of. Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noelle Marconi, Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets, and the Department of Streets would like to offer the following testimony on Bill number 200-5898, introduced by Councilmember Johnson. This is not an administration ordinance, but an ordinance requested by Matthew N. McClure of Ballard Spar, LLP, representing the Philadelphia Energy Solutions Refining and Marketing, LLC. The purpose of this proposed ordinance is to authorize the striking from the city plan and abandoning of a right-of-way reserved for water main and public utility purposes within the lines of former Hartram Street from 26th Street to the former Schuylkill Avenue near the easterly bank of the Schuylkill River. This action will facilitate the proposed redevelopment of the former Philadelphia Energy Solutions refinery complex as a multimodal logistics center. The Water Department has indicated that this right-of-way or an acceptable alternative right-of-way is needed to enhance sewer capacity and relieve flooding issues. An amendment to this bill has been proposed, which will require, as a condition of the abandoning of the existing right-of-way, the grant to the city of an alternative and comparable right-of-way extending from the west side of 26th Street to the Schuylkill River. The Department of Streets has no objections to this proposed ordinance, provided that the proposed amendment is adopted and made part of the bill. I thank you for the opportunity to testify, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you for your testimony. Are there any questions from the members of this committee for this particular panel on these set of bills?
We have one other witness on this panel, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Can you please call that final witness for this particular panel?
Sarah Chu from Planning, you begin when you're ready.
Good morning, Chair Member Thomas and members of Committee on Streets and Services. I'm Sarah Chu, City Planner with the Philadelphia City Planning Commission. I'm here to testify on Bill number 200-595, which was sponsored by Councilmember Johnson on October 29, 2020. Bill number 200-595 will authorize the revisions of lines and grades on a portion of City Plan by placing 4 new public streets on City Plan, as well as to place frontage road on the City Plan. These 4 new streets are Francis Harper Drive, Pollock Street, Schuylkill Avenue Extension, and Fulton Way. This bill is a part of a bill package to facilitate the Hill Code redevelopment plan, which was to transform the 1,300-acre site formerly owned by Pennsylvania Energy Solution, PES, and used as a refinery into a multimodal logistic hub. At its meeting on November 17, 2020, the City Planning Commission recommended approval for Bill number 200-595. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have at this time. Good morning, Chair Member Thomas and members of the Committee on Streets and Services. I'm Sarah Chu, City Planner with the Philadelphia City Planning Commission. I'm here to testify on Bill number 200-596, which was introduced by Councilmember Johnson on October 29, 2020. Bill number 200-596 will authorize the revisions of lines and grades on a portion of City Plan by relocating the existing curb lines and house line on certain streets and their intersections. The change will be made at the following streets and intersections: Passyunk Avenue at its intersection with South 28th Street, Passyunk Avenue Service Road, aka Frontage Road, at its intersection with Francis Harper Drive, South 26th at its intersection with Pollock Street and Penrose Avenue, Lanier Avenue and its new intersection with Penrose Avenue. This bill is a part of a bill package to facilitate the Hillco redevelopment plan, which is to transform the 1,300-acre site formerly owned by Pennsylvania Energy Solution, PES, and used as a refinery into a multimodal logistic hub. At its meeting on November 17, 2020, the City Planning Commission recommended approval for Bill number 200596. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have at this time. And I also have a testimony for Bill number 200598. So I would like to read in the record.
Please go right ahead, Sarah.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Member Thomas and members of Committee on Streets and Services. I'm Sarah Chu, City Planner with the Philadelphia City Planning Commission. I'm here to testify on Bill number 200598, which was introduced by Councilmember Johnson on October 29, 2020. Bill number 200598 will authorize and striking and vacating from city plan and abandoning an existing right-of-way reserved for drainage purposes located along the former Hartranft Street and west of 26th Street. The purpose of this bill is a part of a bill package to facilitate the Hillco redevelopment plan, which is to transform the 1,300-acre site formerly owned by Pennsylvania Energy Solution, PES, and used as a refinery into a multimodal logistic hub. The Philadelphia Water Department is working with the development team to determine the appropriate location of a new drainage right-of-way within the site. At its meeting on November 17, 2020, the City Planning Commission recommended approval for Bill number 200598. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have at this time. Thank you.
Thank you to the panel for your testimony, and we are now adding 200598 to the list of bills that this particular panel came to testify about. Are there any questions from any members of this committee on the set of bills that were just communicated as far as the testimony from the witnesses? I see none in the chat. I see no hands up. So I want to say thank you to this panel.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Recognizes Councilmember Gilmore Richardson.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to thank the bill sponsor and all of the representatives from Hillco for working with members of council, particularly members of the Committee on Environment, wherein we were able to tour the location to see all of the areas where we would need to establish new streets. So I just wanted to say thank you. And if I could quickly have a question relative to the workforce development component. I think I heard there'll be more than 15,000 feet of new roadway, if I'm correct.
We can't hear you. You're on mute. You're not you, Councilmember Gilmore Richardson. Sarah, you were on mute.
That is correct. Yes.
Excellent. So I just wanted to briefly, for the record, put on the workforce development component of that portion of the project on the record.
Thank you, Councilmember Gilmore Richardson. We appreciate your diligence, and also to thank you to Councilmember Johnson for your leadership as it relates to this set of bills and the entire project that's taking place in your district currently. We appreciate your leadership, and of course, Councilmember Gilmore Richardson, thank you for that clarity.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for my colleagues who have been working with me as we go through this process of the redevelopment of the former Philadelphia Energy Solutions site, commonly now known as Hillco Redevelopment Corporation site. And thank you for the representatives from Hillco for also working in partnership with the Streets Department and also, most importantly, the Planning Commission so we can get this project done right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember. We appreciate you, and thank you to this panel of witnesses. Does anyone else have a question or statement for this particular panel on these set of bills? Hearing none, I want to say I think there's a hint. Well, that's okay. So hearing none from the council members, I want to say thank you to everybody for your testimony, and I would like the clerk to please call the next set of witnesses.
Of course. The next group of bills to be heard is Bill 200085, 200086, 200257, and 200626. And Noel Marconi from Streets will be the only witness testifying on that group of bills.
Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noel Marconi, and I'm the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 20085, introduced by Councilmember Johnson. This ordinance establishes a no truck parking regulation on Kingsessing Avenue from Cemetery Avenue to South 62nd Street. It will remove all legal street parking on the 6200 block of Kingsessing Avenue on both sides of the street. Department of Streets has no objections to this bill. The regulations can be posted within 30 days of the passage of this bill. This concludes my testimony, and pleased to answer any questions you may have. Thank you. Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noelle Marconi, and I'm the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 20086, introduced by Councilmember Johnson. This ordinance establishes a no truck parking regulation in the vicinity of Cemetery and Kingsessing Avenues and will remove all street parking from the 2000 block of Cemetery Avenue. Department of Streets has no objections to this bill. This concludes my testimony, and please answer any questions you may have. Thank you. Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noelle Marconi, and I'm the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 200257, introduced by Councilmember Johnson. This bill regulates the direction of the movement of traffic on certain portions of Manton Street, making it a one-way street between 24th and 25th Streets westbound. Department of Streets has no objections to this bill. This concludes my testimony, and please answer any questions you may have. Thank you. Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noelle Marconi, and I'm the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 200626, introduced by Councilmember Squilla. This is an administration ordinance submitted by the Department of Streets working in coordination with the United States Coast Guard and the Delaware River Waterfront Corporation. The purpose of this proposed ordinance is to authorize the relocation of the southeasterly house line and curb line of Christopher Columbus Boulevard from Washington Avenue to Christian Street, and the placing on the city plan and striking from the city plan of certain areas affected thereby. A right-of-way for various utility purposes will be reserved and placed on the city plan to accommodate existing utilities within the portion of Christopher Columbus Boulevard being stricken, and a right-of-way for drainage purposes will be plotted on the city plan extending from the terminus of Washington Avenue east of Christopher Columbus Boulevard into the Delaware River to encompass an existing stormwater sewer. The purpose of these actions is to revise the city plan to conform more closely with existing conditions and to facilitate the redesign and reconstruction of portions of the adjacent United States Coast Guard facility. This ordinance is supported by the Department of Streets and is recommended for approval. I thank you for the opportunity to testify today, and I can answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Very much appreciated. Are there any questions from members of this particular committee for these set of bills? Any council members? Any questions? I see none in the chat. So I want to say thank you for your testimony. We appreciate it. Mr. Clerk, if you can please call the next panel.
Sure. The next bill to be heard is Bill 200661, and Noelle Marconi from Streets and Greg Heller from the Redevelopment Authority will be testifying.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. If if the panel could please state your name for your record and begin with your testimony, and you can go consecutively one after another. You're on mute. You're on mute. It's a lot. Don't worry about it. We're back and forth, on mute, off mute.
Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noelle Marconi, and I'm the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 200661, sponsored by Councilmember Gauthier. This bill authorizes the Beto Productions Incorporated or a subsequent owner to install, own, and maintain encroachments in the form of decorative manhole covers and traffic signs in the vicinity of 6200 Osage Avenue, all under certain terms and conditions. Department of Streets is not opposed to these proposed encroachments, as all comply with the minimum walking zones on 62nd Street, Pine Street, Cobbs Creek Parkway, and on Osage Avenue. This project consists of 18 permanent outdoor works that mimic non-functioning manhole covers and traffic signs that are distributed on the 4 city blocks that were identified above. This concludes my testimony, and please answer any questions you may have.
Greg, you can begin your testimony. Greg, you can state your name and begin your testimony.
Great, thank you. My name is Gregory Heller. I'm Executive Director of the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority. Honorable Chairperson and members of the committee, I'm here to provide testimony on Bill 200661, which would authorize an encroachment for the installation of artwork and authorize the City of Philadelphia to accept ownership of the artwork. The purpose of this encroachment is for the installation of an important project created through the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority's Percent for Art program. The PRA's Percent for Art program, which requires redevelopers to commission original works of public art, was the first of its kind in the country, established in 1959 and responsible for the creation of over 350 works of art across the city. This Percent for Art project will be located on the 6,200 blocks of Osage Avenue and Pine Street, the site of the 1985 MOVE bombing. The restoration and healing of these blocks has been a priority for the PRA and the administration. Today, we are proud that the 36 homes that were publicly owned, vacant, and boarded up from 2000 to 2016 are now beautifully renovated and occupied by new homeowners. For this art project, PRA went through a public process that started with a request for qualifications from artists. PRA then issued a request for proposals. Shortlisted artists were required to attend a community meeting so they could listen to residents from the community before developing their proposal. PRA's art committee and the redeveloper selected this art project by the team of Yvonne Laddie and Shelley Spector. The project includes a short documentary film to capture the words and feelings of both old and new residents on these blocks, which will be made publicly available for viewing. The project also memorializes some of the messages from the film on permanent sculptures that are installed across these two blocks in found objects. A visitor who happens to look up or down at the right time may see a manhole cover that says, "How are you doing?" A street sign that says, "The people that made those memories," or "We call each other family." All told, 6 manhole covers and 12 street signs will contain custom messages of hope and community. The art project makes a subtle but powerful statement about these blocks being able to heal and to regain the essence of a strong and thriving Philadelphia community. On behalf of the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority, I want to offer my strong support for this project and support for Bill 200661 that will allow this project to become reality. I respectfully request that the rules of council be suspended so that this bill may be given its first reading at the next City Council meeting. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Are there any questions from the members of this committee for this particular panel on these set of bills? I see none in the chat feature. I see no hands up. So I want to say thank you to this set of witnesses. We appreciate your expertise. Mr. Clerk, can you please call the next panel?
Of course. The next set of bills to be heard is Bill 200657, 200658, 200659, and 200660. Noel Marconi from Streets is the only witness to be heard. And for a point of information, Bill 200627 is being held at the sponsor's request and will not be heard about today.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Can you please state your name again for the record and begin with your testimony?
Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noel Marconi, and I'm the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 200657. This is an ordinance to amend Bill number 010267, which established a no truck parking regulation on Lancaster Avenue. This bill will establish tow-away regulations for trucks parked on Lancaster Avenue from 52nd Street to 63rd Street, both sides. Department of Streets has no objections to this bill. This concludes my testimony, and please answer any questions you may have. Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noel Marconi, and I'm the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 200658, introduced by Councilmember Jones. This is an ordinance which authorizes the installation of a traffic signal at the intersection of Upland Way and Burke Street. A new traffic signal at Burks and Upland Way will create a hazardous situation due to its close proximity to the existing signal at 57th and 59th Street and Upland Way. The addition of the traffic signal would result in extreme difficulty for vehicles turning on and off Upland Way. This will result in aggressive driving, failure to yield to pedestrians, and red running the light. Motorists will just disregard the traffic controls. Further, the Pennsylvania Vehicle Code required PennDOT to develop regulations governing traffic control devices in accordance with the Federal Highway Administration's Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices. These regulations apply to all public streets and highways in Pennsylvania, and the city solicitor has ruled that the streets department is legally obligated to comply with the vehicle code and related PennDOT regulations. Federal and state criteria require that signal control be warranted by an engineering study of traffic conditions. A study to warrant and determine the feasibility of a traffic signal has not been completed, and thereby a traffic signal would not be warranted per the state regulations. This bill was introduced in the light of a tragic traffic fatality on the 5600 block of Upland Way on November 10th. When the department was notified of the fatality, we immediately began a speed and traffic calming study on this block due to the nature of the crash in order to investigate possible interventions. The study is part of our larger traffic calming and safety initiative is currently ongoing. We anticipate providing results back to the community as soon as possible. Based on the hazard a traffic signal would create, as well as the alternate steps we have undertaken, the Streets Department does not support the passage of this bill. Thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today. I would be happy to answer any questions you may have. Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noelle Marconi, and I'm the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 200659, introduced by Councilmember Jones. This ordinance establishes a no truck parking regulation and restricts all trucks from on-street parking on Parkside Avenue, 49th Street, 50th Street, and Jefferson Street within the West Parkside Industrial Park. The Department of Streets has no objections to this bill. Regulations can be posted within 30 days of the passage of this bill. This concludes my testimony, and please answer any questions you may have. Thank you. Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noelle Marconi, and I'm the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 200660, introduced by Councilmember Jones. This is an ordinance to establish a no truck parking regulation on Henry Avenue both sides, from Allegheny Avenue to Abbotsford Avenue. Department of Streets has no objections to this bill. The regulation can be posted within 30 days of the bill's passage. Thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today. We'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you for your testimony. Are there any questions from members of this particular committee for this panel? Chair recognizes Councilmember Gilmore Richardson.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. I wanted to circle back to the bill relative to Upland Way, specifically because I am fully aware of that intersection as I was born and raised in Winfield and still live in this community today. So I'm very concerned about the objection to that bill because I personally know that is a very bad intersection. Even going back 15, 20 years ago when I was a teacher at Overbrook, which is right on the other side of that bridge, that's a very bad intersection. So I understand that the Streets Department has begun a study for traffic calming in that area. But what I did not hear in that testimony is any other potential solutions that we can offer outside of, starting the study to calm that traffic down right away in that community. And I'm in support of this bill because I know that we do need additional traffic calming measures at Upland Way. It intersects with a variety of streets on that particular corner, and it's a very hard turn, even when you're turning off of Burke's to go close to Upland Way. It's a very difficult traffic pattern over there already. So I'm in support of the bill. I just wanted to know what other solutions you all could offer outside of not being in support of this measure.
Noelle, you're on mute again.
Sorry. Councilmember Gilmore Richardson, thank you. We're actually in continuing discussions with Councilmember Jones's office, and that area is able to support speed cushions, which we're working on. I believe there's a process for the speed cushions, which I'll ask our traffic engineer, Dave Dungalos, to actually add to my comments. David?
Yes. Hi, Councilmember. Again, we talked to Councilman Jones' office, and the bill was particularly put forward in light of the crash, as was in the testimony. However, yes, we have heard concerns about the intersection, primarily because there are 6 roads that all come together at that one intersection, which makes it difficult for various folks trying to negotiate that intersection. 15, 20 years ago, we actually did a major improvement to that intersection. We took Burke's out of the intersection and offset it. Our main concern is safety. And the way that this bill is worked out right now, we are very concerned that this will make it less safe as opposed to more safe. And we would require to do more study before proceeding with any other measures. That being said, there certainly are things that we can look at that intersection. We have worked with, I think we may have worked with your office or other offices about the people who live on Burke Street have a hard time getting out, and different things that we can do to assist with that, like painting a "Don't Block the Intersection X," which is actually also in the works, and other things. Plus the traffic calming measures will assist with that part of the intersection. Short of that, anything beyond that would probably require capital improvements to that intersection, which a traffic signal would also be a capital improvement. So we are aware of the issues that you bring up, and we are certainly welcome to have furthering conversations with your office and with Councilman Jones' office about additional safety measures we can take at the intersection to make it better.
Thank you so much. And thank you for all of your work, particularly with the neighbors, 5600 block of Burke Street. But I just want to say for the record that I'm in full support of my district council person, Councilmember Jones, in his efforts to ensure that we can make that intersection safer for our community. The young lady who passed away, who was killed at that intersection, was my same age. So this is deeply personal to me. So I'm in full support of my district council member for this initiative. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilmember Gilmore Richardson. We appreciate your insight, your perspective, and always having your ear to the ground. So thank you so much, Councilmember Gilmore Richardson, and thank you to the administration for your testimony and for the accurate information. We appreciate you communicating your perspective. Are there any other questions for this panel on these set of bills? Hearing none and seeing none in the chat, I'm going to thank you for taking the time to testify here today. Mr. Clerk, can you please call the next panel and the next set of bills?
That concludes the bills to be heard today, Mr. Chairman.
I guess I was wrong. You did an excellent job today. Okay. All right. Is there anyone else on this committee who would like to comment before we move into the next phase of our dialogue today? Actually, you know what? The chair recognizes a witness who would like to testify. Mr. Derwin, are you there?
Yes.
Yeah. Please state your name for the record, and you have about 2-3 minutes to begin with your testimony.
Yes. Mr. Chairman, my name is Darwin Beauvais. I represent Hillco, and we have several of the Hillco representatives here. We just wanted to see if we could take a moment to look at the amendments. They were just given to us, and we're just trying to review them. So I'm asking if before you go into your public meeting, if we can just maybe have a moment, if you can conduct all the other business and then come back to the public hearing to discuss the amendments.
We've thank you for your request. We've conducted all other business. So at this point, we are about ready to conclude the hearing and go into the public meeting. So I do want to be courteous and give you a few minutes to go over that. What I will do is there are a few other questions. I'm going to take a minute to recognize Noel in a second. But we have concluded all other business. So we'll try our best to accommodate you, Darren. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And just if I may, just if technically, if we could, you could, and just trying to be a friend to the committee, you could recess your public meeting, recess the public hearing, go into the public meeting, conduct the business for everything else but those bills that we're asking to review, and then come back to the public meeting to discuss the amendments.
So I'll do two things. The chair will definitely defer to Councilmember Johnson, who's a committee member here, and whose bills they are. So Councilmember Johnson, if you're hearing this, I will defer to you to figure out exactly what we do with the particular request that was just communicated. But before I hear from Councilmember Johnson, I'm going to allow Noel from the administration to communicate what it is that she wants to communicate, and then I will recognize Councilmember Johnson. Maybe she doesn't have anything anymore. Well,
And I think some of the Hillco members may be talking to Councilman Johnson right now.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I don't mind giving them the additional time that may be needed if they can do it in a timely fashion to do the review. Again, also, Darwin, I would say that if your team could confer with the law department, I guess, in an expeditious manner as relates to what the technical amendments are for. From my understanding, it's regarding as Hillco developed the street plan. I think, as it was mentioned, the city of Philadelphia isn't on the hook for anything that arises as it relates to costs around those paving of the streets on the development site. But nevertheless, Mr. Chairman, I would give them that little latitude if we can, but we'd like to do this also in an expedient manner as it relates to the business of this committee. So I don't have any problem giving them additional time.
thank you, Councilmember Johnson. We appreciate it. Chair recognizes Noel from the administration.
Sorry, I think I forgot, or my papers got stuck together, and I didn't read the testimony for 200659.
That's fine. If you would like to read that testimony, you have been very thorough. So I think you're allowed one error. But yeah, go ahead. Please communicate your testimony.
Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noelle Marconi, and I'm the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 200659, introduced by Councilmember Jones. This ordinance establishes a no truck parking regulation and restricts all trucks from on-street parking on Parkside Avenue, 49th Street, 50th Street, and Jefferson Street within the West Parkside Industrial Park. The Department of Streets has no objections to this bill, and the regulations can be posted within 30 days of the passage of this bill. This concludes my testimony, and please answer any questions you may have. Thank you. Sorry about that.
You're fine. Thank you. Thank you for assuring that information was put into the record. We definitely appreciate it. Are there any questions from the members of this panel about the particular bill that Noel just testified on? Hearing none and seeing none in the chat, I want to say thank you and make for your due diligence and for being thorough and making sure that information gets read into the record. This is what we're going to do.
Testimony was longer.
This is what we're going to do. We're going to take a 10-minute recess. And this is very dangerous, but I trust my colleagues that we will convene back again in 10 minutes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Chair recognizes Councilmember Johnson.
In this day and time, we work at home from virtual. I wish people would not come back and us make a quorum.
So we're gonna honor the request of Councilmember Johnson, and what we're going to do is we're going to take a 10-minute recess. And we're going to convene in 10 minutes. And when we convene in 10 minutes after the recess, we will open up the conversation to anybody who wants to offer any last-minute testimonies before we go into our public meeting. With that being said, session is in recess for 10 minutes, and we will convene shortly after to finish testimony around these bills, and then we will transition into our public meeting. Thank you. Councilmember Johnson, I seen you were off mute. If you would like to say something, feel free to. But otherwise,
Let's check Modesto.
Yes, David and Mr. Chair, whenever you're ready, please let me know and I'll proceed with the live. Mr. Chair, we are now live.
good morning again. I want to say thank you to those in the listening public for your patience. Today is Monday, November 30th, and we are prepared to resume our committee meeting on streets and services. I just want to, for clarity purposes, I just want to communicate that I understand that the state law requires that the following announcement be made at the beginning of all remote hearings, which is basically just a reminder to people that this session is being recorded, and communication about this hearing was already made prior to the start of the hearing. And if you're agreeing to stay in this hearing, you are consenting to being recorded. With that being said, Mr. Clerk, can you please call the roll so we can ensure that we have a quorum before we start, before we come back from our recess?
Of course, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Thomas.
Present.
Vice Chair Squilla. Vice Chair Squilla. Councilmember Bass.
I am present.
Thank you, Councilmember Bass. Councilmember O.
I'm present.
Thank you for holding with us, Councilmember.
Dave, I'm present too. I couldn't get off of mute there. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Squilla. Councilmember Brooks.
I'm present.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Johnson.
Present.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Gilmore Richardson.
Good morning, I'm present.
Thank you, Councilmember. A quorum of the members is present. Mr. Chairman, we are good to proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Before we proceed, I just want to take a moment to thank everybody for their patience and for their due diligence to make sure that we get this right, because that's the most important thing. And before we conclude our hearing and go to our public meeting, I just wanted to open the floor up to any members of this committee who would like to make any comments or who would like to put anything on the record that they feel like needs to happen before we go into the public meeting. Hearing none. This concludes our hearing today for the Streets and Services Committee, and we are now prepared to go into the public meeting. If there are not any other questions, which that opportunity was already given, we are now prepared. So with that being said, I will ask that if anyone else present in the hearing whose name has not, who we have failed to call and that wishes to offer testimony, this is outside of the members of the hearing, any witness or anybody who wish to offer any testimony on any of the bills today, would you please signify that you would like to comment on the bills? Hearing none, I want to thank all the panels and all the witnesses for your participation today. We value your opinions. I now invite all panels and witnesses to please disconnect from the meeting before we go into our public hearing. We will now pause for the proceedings briefly as multiple participants will leave the hearing. Tech staff, thank you for your support as well with that. Again, this concludes the public hearing of the committee. We will now go into a public meeting to consider the actions to be taken on the bills before us today. So once again, Mr. Clerk, if you can please call the roll.
Of course, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Thomas.
Present.
Vice Chair Squilla.
Present.
Councilmember Bass.
Present.
Thank you. Councilmember O.
Present.
Councilmember Brooks.
Present.
Thank you, Councilmember Brooks. Councilmember Johnson.
Present.
And Councilmember Gilmore Richardson.
Present.
Thank you, everyone. All of the
Thank-
members. There is a quorum of members present.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. As you already said, a quorum of the committee members is present, and now we will start our public meeting to amend bills number 200542, 200543, 200595, 200596, and 200598. The chair recognizes Councilmember Swiller for a single motion to approve the amendments to the bills that are being considered today. And I know Councilmember Squilla might actually add an amendment to that list. So chair recognizes Councilmember Squilla.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I offer amendments to Bill number 200542, 200543, 200595, 200596, 200597, and 200598. A copy of these amendments have been circulated to all members of the committee. I move that these amendments be approved.
Second.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that the amendments to the bills just read by Councilmember Swiller be approved. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? The ayes have it and the motion carries as these amendments have been approved. The chair recognizes Councilmember Swiller for a single motion on the bills that are being considered today.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move the bill numbers 200663, 200575, 200542, 200543, 200578, 200595, 200596, 200597, 200598, 200085, 200086, 2005 200257, 200626, 200661, 200657, 200658, 200659, and 200660, including any amendments that have been approved, be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move that the rules of council be suspended as to permit the first reading of these bills at the next session of council.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that the bills just read by Councilmember Swiller, including any amendments that have been approved today, be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move that the rules of council be suspended to permit first reading of these bills at the next council session. All of those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? The ayes have it and the motion carries. This concludes the business for the Committee on Streets and Services today. I want to say thank you to all of my colleagues, as well as the administration and the witnesses who came to testify today. And most importantly, thank you to the constituents of Philadelphia who watched this committee hearing and was able to have an opportunity to observe your government in action. Thank you, folks. Thank you, everybody. It's been a long morning, but we appreciate your patience. We appreciate your support. And from this committee, because we won't be having another hearing between now and the end of the calendar year, I just would like to say thank you to all parties involved for making this year a successful year. I want to wish everybody a happy and safe holiday. And me personally, every time I get the opportunity, I just want to remind people to put your mask on, be safe, and follow the guidelines of the health department. It's not necessarily easy right now, but it's what we must do to do our part to stop the spread. So thank you to all parties involved. We appreciate you, and we look forward to many more hearings next year. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. I appreciate you as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The feeling is mutual.
Thank you, Mr.
Chairman.
Chair.
Great job.
All right. Thank you very much. Stay safe, everybody.
Be safe, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Great job, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.